Hi there, welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue Volume 19, Episode 9 of my Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac Scrapbooks. And today I think we're going to wrap up 2011, or the 2011 part of In Your Dreams. In 2012 and even kind of into 13, we have the film. And then I think by 13, I think that it came out on the DVD or somewhere around that time. But this is mostly pertaining to the album and the tour and things she was doing, surrounding that. So one of the first things that I had done was this page was a long time ago. This was on the back of something else, and it was funny. I every time I go to do a video and I'll do stuff, and I think I bring this up a lot. I'll find a lot of other stuff that I've done, or I'll talk about a set list. Like if you watched a recent video, and then later on I find that set list. Today I found a whole bunch more stuff. I found a whole packet of stuff that I put together that was like the late 2000s or mid 2000s, and like 2010, 11, 12, etc. And I put that packet together a long time ago, probably when I was working on Say You Will, thinking, oh, I'm not going to be into this for a long time. And sure enough, there's stuff. So there's stuff I've already forgotten. It's just so funny to me. But this page was one of the first things that I made that was current, that was more, around the time. I've always worked on, 77, 81, Mirage, Tango on the Night and stuff like that. But I had gotten this really cute font and this little sticker my mom gave me. And I just thought it was so cute. Secret Love had just come out and stuff. So I put together this whole page. So it's just full of little silly stuff. This was a really cool thing on Stevie Nicks, written by Florence Welch. And I'm a big Florence and the Machine fan, going to see her in May, no less. And so it was really cool that she was just talking about, the first time she heard Stevie, I just fallen in love with the boy in a band. I was on a family holiday in Italy. Fleetwood Mac's Rumors was one of the only CDs in the house where we stayed. And I was like, oh, okay, what's this? I listened to the whole thing nonstop. There's something about Stevie that's really pure. When she sings, she sounds angelic, but also wild and free, like she's getting completely lost in her song. Her new album, In Your Dreams, is just classic songwriting. With the big, expansive guitar sounds, it's moving in a more modern direction, but it still sounds like Stevie Nicks. She's very much a storyteller, and she has a fantastic ability to make songs that you feel immediately connected to, which is so true. Creating that intimacy while also retaining a mystique is something I learned from her. She also definitely influenced me to wear a cape. I love a cape on stage. So that was a really cute article, and it was so cool because I was just getting into Florence probably about 2011. So I thought that was really kind of cool. And she just got a lot of little tiny things like this, like there's really, they're really playing up Secret Love, which I thought was kind of cool. It's one of the picks and stuff like that. One of the picks from the album. So I think it gets brought up. So Secret Love here, Secret Love here, Secret Love here. She didn't mention it here, but she mentioned the album, and then just working. Actually, this came out in 2010. And I'd found this again, like I said, this was a long time ago, but it needed to go here because it was, beginning to work on the album. So I kind of thought it should have gone there, even though it came out earlier. If I put it in with 2010, there was just nothing else that really would have gone with. So I thought that was kind of the right thing to do. So it's kind of sparse, but I really like this little put together here. So that's that. Next up, it's so funny. Again, I was talking to an acquaintance of mine, and he was asking about certain items and if I had them. And I'm like, yeah, it's funny you say that. I do have this one item, and I have no idea where it is. And I'm looking around, thinking, I'm going to have to get to it eventually. And sure enough, it was just in another pile and stuff. And that is one of the harder to find things. A really cool thing was the lithograph. I think I want to say came with the order of the album. In Your Dreams. Yeah, I think it was with the album. So these had come out. Of course, I missed the ones that came out signed. They'd been available as signed or unsigned, and I would kill to have one signed. This is a beautiful, beautiful picture. Although I do have something pretty special later, so it's kind of I'll let it go that I didn't get this one. But this was really a nice thing. And then additionally, I had this newspaper article. Actually, did I start wrong? I did start. I started backwards. I'm so sorry. But it's okay. I found this newspaper article that was from the Wiltern show. It was about the Wiltern show in that packet. So I was able to put together here. But this is the second part of it. Again, the Wiltern birthday show. But actually, the first page was supposed to be this. And this is a cool ad from HMV, which is a UK magazine. You can see it's like UK price, gold British pound, I think. Then I just ripped that by accident, which really sucks. But that's the first part of the article. So that goes into here. And then you'll see the rest in a second. A pretty little outtake, I guess. And another release. Now this kind of sucked. Fleetwood Mac's Warbler. Fleetwood Mac Warbler's first that word. First solo outing in a decade. Evidently not blessed with a Protestant work ethic, Stevie Nicks has managed just 7 lackluster solo albums in 30 years. In Your Dreams has plenty of warning signs. The soft focus cover featuring a horse. Dave Stewart intermittently producing one track, The Dreary Secret Love, Leftover from 1976, and another based on John Rye's silly novel, Wide Sargasso Sea. Yet at times, notably, The Raw Soldier's Angel, The Sweeping Italian Summer, and The Rueful for What It's Worth, not the Buffalo Springfield one, she sounds more engaged than she has in years. Not the disgrace it could have been. Screw Them, and I think this is out of, it could have been out of Rolling Stone. Because I know they kind of started doing a different thing. But what I think was really funny is a lot of people love Wide Sargasso Sea, and I do too. It's one I really haven't listened to a lot. Like, even though I put the album on repeat, it's the one that sticks in my head, like, oh, I got to go back to this one. Like, I'll listen, when I put on the album, I'll listen to it from front to the end. But I don't go back, like, midway, often. Once in a while, there's a song I need to hear over and over again, and that's not one of them. Soldier's Angel, we've heard about that one. And For What It's Worth, not one of my favorites. But I think it's funny that, Secret Love is considered dreary, but then they choose 3 others that you would really think, to be honest, that critics would not like. And I thought it was interesting that he picked those 3. So whatever, to each their own, and everybody has an opinion. Just like what? What's that term? What's that saying? Just like, what's, everybody has an opinion. So anyway, that would be the first part of the article. Second, and this beautiful lithograph, which is that's just stunning, or what? When it later shows up on the background, like for the posters and stuff around the film, with the staircase and stuff behind her, it's a completely different image. It makes us look more kind of grayish toned, even though it is already, and kind of more ghostly, I think. But I really like the stark kind of white background behind it. So there's that one. And then that article finishes up. Let me get the right page. I do not have the right page. Where did it go? Come on, where are you at? I just had it a second ago. Well, that's not embarrassing or anything. Oh, yeah. It was just under everything else. So then the remainder of the article. And it just really talked a lot about, she kind of brought up a lot of stuff that she had brought up prior to, like, if I have to go out and stand on the street corner to sell these records and so on and so forth. And, there's the money issue. Lady Gaga this week released her album, and released her new album on Amazon for 99 cents to great results. Nicks became flustered. Is that good? The whole record for 99 cents, the $18 record, she asked. There was a time 6 years ago when on a Monday I got $3 million in publishing royalties, and on a Wednesday I got $2 million more. Sometimes I get up in the morning thinking I have made the best record I think I've ever made, but will anybody ever hear it? So it's so funny that she's kind of, I don't want to say in a self-doubt, but she just really pits herself against stuff. During Trouble in Shangri-La, she really pitted herself against, in 9/11. I mean, I'll just come out with it that, she said, during the time, is it this, and that. And it's like, I don't think that she really needs to pit herself against anything. I don't think, no matter what had happened, if that had never happened, or, whatever the case may be, she comes out with an album and she promotes it and she does what she can. And maybe a song, will be special to somebody, but it's not because of any, thing going on in the world or anything that she has to worry about. It's just us. It's just, it's just her regular fan base who just, foaming at the mouth for something to come out. And I think it matters most to us. I understand that it matters to her because she's concerned about critics. She's concerned about, her value, which she's going to get back and such. But I don't know. I just think it's always kind of funny. And, for this album, she's really concerned about digital releases, what it was getting. And again, making the joke, if I have to go to stand on corners, it's like, first of all, you're Stevie Nicks. You never would. I know what she means. It's an analogy, but nonetheless, yeah, she just seemed really bothered by that. So this too, I believe is just a slightly different. Well, it's obviously different from the poster and the cover, but I just love all the rays coming through like that. It looks so pretty. And like I said, the remainder of the article. Then this was a funny little thing. You see Stevie here. This was an interesting thing from 2011 September. This Tavi Gevinson, I've never really looked her up again, but I just remember being kind of like, okay, she's a 15-year-old fashionista behind the website Style Rookie, which I'd never heard of. And they asked her a ton of questions. And this, again, was out of Spin magazine. And one of the things they asked her is, tell us the last song that made you cry. And she replies, there's a video of Stevie Nicks backstage in 1981 getting her hair and makeup done. She doesn't know she's being filmed, and she's harmonizing to a recording of Wild Heart. She's so beautiful, and her voice is so pure. And I just thought that was really interesting at this time. And I know that video made wide circulation, and it was kind of, catching on and stuff like that. But I just thought it was really cool that somebody brought something so unique and different, not just like I heard Stand Back on a record, or has anyone ever written anything. I was listening to, Rock Little. No, she talks about, kind of a deep cut as far as, it being the demo that she's singing to, and, that recording on YouTube and stuff like that. So that was just kind of cool. And just the inclusion of Stevie. So that was that page. And then she had a little go time with Rod Stewart. I think this was one of her first times out with Rod Stewart. And though I saw none of those shows, one came to Portland, and I you know what? I just didn't really feel it. Isn't that terrible? I don't know. I really just didn't feel it. It is one of the only tours that I never saw. There's like two times, I think, that straight out didn't go. I had every opportunity. I just didn't make it to this one. I just really wasn't interested. I don't know what it is. I like Rod Stewart a lot, and I actually have not ever seen him in concert. And I totally would have loved to have seen him and her. It's just there's stuff going on, or I'm not really sure. Maybe we're in California, but then I probably would have gone to see her in California. So I don't know. But this picture was actually from, where did I write that down? It seems like this was a certain thing, not one of the Stewart shows. This was something else, and I can't recall, but it's 2011 for sure. And then this is just talking again at Rolling Stone about them going on tour. And this was a pass I got on the internet, which was really cool. Then we have this page here. This is part of that, that postcard set. I think I had shown it. I'm not sure what I did now, but it came out for 24 karat gold, I want to say. There was the Belladonna, this one, the pink one, kind of pink, Wild Heart era one, and what was the fourth one? Another Belladonna in the ballet pose, I want to say. I think that's right. 2 Wild Heart. Anyway, this is one of those postcards from that. And then obviously this picture is being used quite often. And this was really cool because it was a flyer from Australia, touring with Dave Stewart, and it shows both her new record and Dave's. And then on the back of that flyer is this little information about Stevie and how they're coming out and stuff like that. So that was really cool, and all the stops. So I thought that was kind of neat. Great picture. We always need more pictures of the boots. And don't you love this paper? This one and this one. I got some. My mom got somebody gave her a whole bunch of paper. Wait till you see some of the other stuff I have. It's just incredible, including the purple, I think, that I showed you guys that I had done here, the stuff. But it's all that really nice, like that fancy kind of like handmade, like pulp paper. You cannot put the glue roller on it. You have to put it on whatever you're going to put it to, because if you put it on this, it's going to tear and stuff like that. It's just a nightmare, but it is so pretty, so much stuff to work with. And I think, not that you guys really care, but I love getting paper to work with. And there's just so many cool, just that really thick paper. And they're all just these wild styles and stuff. I thought they were so neat. And kind of the reds kind of inspired me for some of these pictures and stuff, as you saw. That one is really cute. That one's definitely got to be a Wild Heart one. You saw that one. That's what was used here. That one is real pretty. Oh, it totally looks like 70s wallpaper. Am I right? But in a good way. the kind of chic at the time. You know, I love green, so of course I like this one. But wait, and this one is gorgeous. It doesn't seem like it, but isn't that beautiful? My mom and I, surprisingly, we both really keened onto this. But yeah, it's that really thick kind of made paper. This has nothing to do with Stevie. This is just me and my crafting. That's kind of like, see how it changes? It's like there's two layers. It's like there's this one thing and then this other stuff on top. It's really cool. Somebody had donated it to a park, like a senior home. And the guy who runs the place knows my mom and her friends do crafts. And so he brought it all to her. And then my favorite piece. Nope, not that one. No, not that one. Because again, I'm a green fanatic, and this is ideally my color of green. That is just gorgeous. That kind of olive, and I thought that was kind of cool. Sorry for that little side quest there. So yeah, got a whole bunch of, and then there's a whole bunch of like scraps of other paper and stuff like that. But it's just really neat. So that was all the stuff for, like I said, closing out in your dreams. This last part was just again Stevie Nicks for what it's worth. The Buffalo. No, it's the one in your dreams. That one. I apologize. So yeah, so that's it. So we'll get into some really cool stuff when we went to the Mill Valley Film Festival for the In Your Dreams screening, and some more Lindsey Buckingham times, a couple shows from there, and then pretty soon we'll be getting into the Fleetwood Mac reunions. The first one where they went out again before they brought Christine back in 2014. So look out for those. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And sorry for the paper thing. I was just really excited about it. So hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.